It's still raining. Not terribly. Right. Gum. Go through here. So we're gonna take a couple of these, some of this, run a ridgeline for a big tarp shelter, like a 12 by 24 out there somewhere near the fire pit in the sukkah, so that we're not sopping wet when we're out here keeping the feast of the Lord. We also have the barn though. I got a feeling we might be partying in this barn. It's supposed to rain for the next 3 days. We'll see what happens. But such are the ways of the homestead. The velociraptors have been fed. I like to feed them like 2 toddlers or 1 goat is about enough meat for them to eat each week. So, no, I'm kidding. They eat corn. Simmer down. There, I got the camera pointed the right way, since somebody made the astute observation that my face is detrimental to the success of this channel. Thank you for breathing life into me, brother. All right, rope up to the crotch of the tree, laid down over this way. So we're gonna come down here. We're gonna tie a clove hitch around this, back it with a double half hitch. Then we will tension up through the tree, and I'll lay the tarp out. Then go up through this tree, tension the rope, and then that'll lift the tarp up. And I'll have a ridgeline for shelter. Picture says 1,000 words. Show you shortly. Ta-da! Well, T, you know a lot about ropes. Sure do. Hamotzi min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread and rain and rope. Okay, that's where we were last time. Rope comes down here. Shazam! Up this tree, around the back of this tree, and then I'll tension it up from here. Probably tie it to that stump after I get a tarp laid across the top of there. Amazing! Guess what? It's still raining. I've been keeping the iPhone in the barn because me and iPhones and water is a bad recipe. If you've been around here a while, you ought to know that by now. So, look. Ridgeline strung, tarp draped across. Let me show you guys something cool. It's called a Prusik loop, P-R-U-S-S-I-K. Papa Romeo, Uniform, Sierra, Sierra, India, Kilo, Prusik. Okay, look. See this? The little sucker rachira. See that? That piece of paracord ties back to this grommet. And then when I let go, this Prusik loop, the Prusik loop grabs the 1/2-inch rope ridgeline and keeps the tarp under tension, so the tarp doesn't bunch up when I yank this ridgeline. Okay, keeps the tarp, because it's gonna wanna slide back on this end and this end and that end. Both are gonna wanna slide to the middle because of this little thing called gravity that Sir Isaac Newton wrote some rules about a while ago. Or should we say, he observed the methods with which the Father used to govern our planetary body. Anyway, point being, the Prusik loops are cool. Next point, I want to encourage you guys that to be a little adventurous like this, or dumb, or whatever. Like, yeah, it's raining out here. It's been raining all day. It's going to rain for the next 3 days. So my options are to sit inside the house and do nothing, or to be out here and do this. And there's some things to understand. Number one, I enjoy this. Number two, this stuff's got to get done. Doesn't matter if it's raining or not. And number three, I'm learning by doing, right? So I would encourage you guys to just go play, go do stuff. Learn by doing, go get wet, go play in the rain, go figure out what works and what doesn't work. And a lot of people get stuck in the, instead of ready, aim, fire, preparedness, right? It's good to do your due diligence. It's good to aim. It's good to understand where we're going. It's good to triangulate and to navigate and to figure things out. But a lot of you guys, instead of ready, aim, fire, are ready, aim, still aiming. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna take my gun apart and rebuild it. No, I don't like that, different gun. Okay, I'm aiming again. All right, aiming some more. I'm still aiming. Now I'm not gonna fire. Ready, aim, fire. Move with a sense of purpose, even if that means getting off your couch and going outside where it's raining, because this is where God made us to be, not in there. Not that it ain't fun in there, but the Father did not create Adam and Hava in a cubicle, okay? Created them in a garden. Go do. Oh, hey, look. There's a thing in the air. We did a thing. Look. It's like one of those birth canal experiences at one of those modern art museums. Oh, I'm going toward the light. Said I'm gonna be a transpersonal unicorn. I can see it. I can see. Oh, here I am. Ah, welcome to the world. No, it's a tarp. It's a tarp on a piece of rope. Snowflakes disengage. All right, and if you're playing along in the home game on the rigging, down here, we have a half hitch backed with, or I'm sorry, a clove hitch backed with a double half hitch with an inline figure 8 right there, hooked to a 2-ton come along with another inline figure 8 up here, which runs through the tree and acts as the ridgeline for the tarp. Now we are going to use, where'd you go? Where'd you go, man? The third thing that everybody who's into preparedness buys when they get started. First thing they buy is a knife. The next thing they buy is a backpack. The third thing they buy is paracord. So now we're gonna use some paracord as our guy lines, our down guys, to stretch this thing out into more of a tent shape rather than a birth canal shape. And I'll do that and I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm gonna use trucker's hitches. I'll use bowlines through the grommets where the paracord goes through the grommets on the tarp, and then I will use a trucker's hitch to tension. And I'll do all of one side slack and then do the other side to tension up. So I'll show you all that in a minute. How about shabba dabba dabba da? Words. I know the words. All these words I have, they are the best words. They're tremendous. Believe me, everybody tells me I have the best words, and Mexico's gonna pay for them. All right, let me show you where we're at. And pro tip, always leave a little slack in your ridge line. That's the one that runs across the top, so that after you get your down guys put together, like all rigged up, you can cinch up your ridge line, and that'll suck everything this way and get you a nice even tension more or less across your down guys. So in our case, we went a little overkill and we're using a 2-ton Mostom attached to a 7,000 pound rated line to hold up a Walmart tarp. But I don't know if we've met or not. My name is Bear. I tend to overdo things. So welcome to the longhouse in true Viking fashion. Now, instead of having a birth canal, we have a longhouse that pretty dang adequate. If I had to sleep people in here, oh, a dozen comfortably, meaning, hey, get your foot out of my face, I'm trying to sleep over here. But so check this out, there's no rain on this side of the tarp, which is the idea, right? And so down here we've got some pins, tent pegs, like 10-inch metal pins, pegs, whatever they are, down here in the ground at a 45-degree angle into the ground. You need to come in at a 45-degree angle. Paracord, run up to here. This is a bowline, and then just cinch it up, man. What you're looking for is, see how this is like, there's very little crinkle in it? That's what you want. The crinkle, see again here, it's very little crinkle in it. The crinkles gather water. That water adds up, the weight of it adds up, and then that causes your stuff to collapse. So the smoother it is, the better it sheds water. The better it sheds water, the more longevity your shelter has. So, things to consider, right? Now lastly, I'm gonna add this. There are a lot of people that have a tarp as their go-to for shelter, for their bug out bag, inch bag, you know, get home bag, whatever. A lot of people that I've met, the vast majority. Hashtag bare thumbs. I hit the stop recording button. All right, so long and short, a lot of y'all have tarps for your systems, for your shelter. Roger. Here's the thing, right? It's taken me about 45 minutes to put this thing up. Now, part of that is because I've had to walk back and forth to the barn and get my phone and shoot these videos with y'all. But it'd still probably be, I'd say, 20 minutes of me setting this thing up. Have I mentioned that it's raining? Now, right now it's fine because the ambient temperature is in like the upper 70s. But you can still get hypothermia. I know, but it's not the upper 20s. Well, it wasn't raining upper 20s, but let's say the 30s, the upper 30s. This would be a much different situation if the ambient temperature was 38 degrees right now, not 78 degrees. Okay, because hypothermia would be making my very large derriere dead shortly. So if this was a survival situation, what would I do? If it was raining and I had to get shelter up, right? We could make the argument back and forth, shelter first or fire first. That depends on how bad it's raining and what the ambient temperature is. Right now, I would get shelter up first, and then I would build a fire, and then I would start drying my stuff out, right? Because it will get cooler tonight, and if I'm soaking wet, I'll get cold, and if I get cold, I'm not gonna sleep well, and it's gonna be bad. Yes, and I could die. Probably not, but I could. If it was in the 30s, dude, fire first. Get that fire going, feed that fire. Fire warms you 2 or 3 times while you're cutting it and while you're sitting next to it, right? So get that fire going first so you can start drying out. And then in this case, I would make this fire right up by the edge of that, and instead of having that angled down, I would have it angled up like that so that it would catch that heat and reflect it back down at me. It would be a different structure. Right now, this structure is just to shed rain, not to catch heat. But if it was cold outside and I was sopping wet, first thing I'd do is build a fire. Then I would get my tarp shelter up. Then I would huddle underneath my wool blanket, letting that fire wash over me and dry me out. And just so we're all on the same page here, one of the reasons I tell you guys to go forth and do is because if you've ever been sopping wet and then tried to dry out again in front of a fire, you know dang well it doesn't just happen. It's not like 30 seconds later or a minute or an hour or 4 hours later, oh, I'm all dried out and toasty now. No. You're warmer and less wet, but it ain't like a night at the Holiday Inn. So I say all this in love so that you can manage your own expectations so that when the world ends, you're not tempted to shuffle off this mortal coil by your own hand because all of a sudden it's too hard. I want the precise opposite of that for y'all, which is in part why I do these videos. So I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed whatever this video ended up being. I don't know. Is this a homesteading video? Is this a preparedness video? It's a bear video. So, shalom and blessings. Peace.